Our final video in how to find retail buyers and merchants is this: when to bring in a professional. The heavy guns, the big hitters. We're going to talk a little bit about why you'd want to do it, how they do it, if it's worth it. So stick with us. When would you want to bring in a professional, right? If you're trying to find a buyer or a merchant and you just can't, is it worth it? Why are we better? Let's start with the why. So I've spent 18 years living in Bentonville, Arkansas. I've spent 22 years working directly with Walmart. So of course it's easier. I mean, a lot of this is going to sound a little bit obvious, but I've been standing with, next to, in the trenches, setting shelves for big companies, small companies, the food side, everything. So the biggest cheat code that we have is that we were part of that community. We've been in there and done that. We know the terminology and we know what they're looking for. And of course, we know who those people are. And if I don't, there's a solid chance that I've had a neighbor, a friend, someone that can go find me that information pretty quickly and credibly. And so that's just a different thing, right? Here's another thing. My email address is inside of Walmart's environment. I'm not going to get stuck up on a firewall, right? It's going to get through to a buyer. I have a retail link ID. So the obvious thing is that we just have access that you don't have, right? And so, yes, for us to find a buyer is fairly easy. Now, I have spent a lot of time with Walmart, but as we've talked about, there are other retailers I've spent zero time with. And some of my clients want me to rep them into these different areas. And so I'm in your shoes, trying everything I can from ground zero to go try and find a buyer. And so I've been through both sides of this, and I've had success and I've hit walls. I've hit walls with Walmart before where people won't get back to me. So, pros just have a different relationship, a different understanding. Typically, most retailers that are out there will have people that have been in that environment, reps that have been in that world. I think the biggest thing here's going to be the problem that you're going to have is you're going to run into, do I use a big firm? Do I use a small firm? And then here's the kicker. It ain't free, right? If you're a startup and you're trying to watch your money, it's hard to say, hey, I'd like to get sales representation because I'm having a hard time with Walmart. Some big old firm says, that's great. It's a, $15,000 a month retainer, and we're going to take another 5% off commission, everything time something ships. Smaller places, like myself, I worked in a team of two, we would forego some retainers if we thought it was the right client because we wanted it in the long term, but we might take 7 or 8%. Usually there's a retainer. Usually there is a commission that's based off of it, and they want to manage business, right? They don't want to just give you a contact name. So you're not going to call a sales rep and be like, hey, would you give me the name of the pasta buyer? No, they're not, because their entire world revolves around their reputation inside of that community, right? And so another thing is a lot of the really good ones are really, really picky. I am super picky. I do not take every client that comes to me and says, hey, I'd like you to rep me. Nope. My reputation is on the line every time I walk through that door, and I'm not going to put it on the line for something I don't trust or believe in. So you might have a hard time convincing sales reps that are any good to take your product because they might not want to, or they might see something that, they think it's a long shot. It's really good, however, to have conversations with sales reps, because if they're inside of that industry or that retailer, they usually know what's going to work or what's not. I know you don't always want to hear it, but if they're saying, you know what, I just don't see this as an opportunity. Okay, great. Move on to the next one. And if you think finding buyers is tough, finding sales reps could be darn near impossible. One of the reasons why we're starting Ray for Retail is to open up some of these conversations so that we can have good conversations. So when you sit down with a sales rep, you're not starting from scratch. You understand some of the terminology. You understand what you're looking for. You're able to put yourself in a buyer's shoes. If you can go through that process and come out with an understanding of the entire picture, your conversation will be a lot better with a sales rep. And here's the kicker. My real life experience story comes from this. I have had many people ask for my services. I always give references. I even give references of people that I've failed with, because I want to be very open and transparent. And you would be surprised how many people never call my references. And it is mind-boggling to me that you would not contact the people that work with these people every single day and have a ton of questions for them. So my call out is this: if you are going to use a sales rep firm, just understand it's probably not just going to be to get a buyer's name and contact. They're probably going to want to manage the whole process. They're probably going to be very tight with their community and names. And some sales reps don't even like owners in on meetings. Right. And I'm one of those, depending on who the person is. So it's a different world. The contact is so much easier because we live and breathe inside of those communities and we know people really, really well. We have the cheat codes for a lot of that stuff, but finding the right sales rep firm can be just as difficult as finding a buyer and getting them to pay attention to you. So my action item for this one is try and find a sales rep firm at a retailer or an industry, because that's kind of the two ways that you look at it. You'll probably find a sales rep firm that is industry driven, meaning they sell health and beauty and that's all they do, but they sell it to all the retailers. Or you'll find someone like me who's more specific to Walmart and Club. That's what I do. If I need to get into Target, I can, or I'll use someone to go do that. And we'll probably have a full conversation about what sales reps do and don't do. But for the sake of this conversation and just finding buyers and finding merchant contact information, pros are probably the easiest way to go, but there is a lot of cost entailed. That's it. Those are the 5 ways, right? Use them all. I've had success with all of them. I hit roadblocks with all of them. It's like I said, there's no cheat code, or skipping around these. Some of them take time. Some of them are dead ends. Persistence pays off. Stick with the process. Best of luck. Stick with us. Ready for Retail is here to answer questions, right? And so if you do hit roadblocks, send us a note. Part of this is we want to start a conversation. We want to be able to answer questions in real time with real people going through real life events. And so hopefully we're going to start doing live events. Check out our Instagram, all that kind of cool, fun stuff. Our goal is to educate. Our goal is to get a lot of really good information out there, because honestly, there's a bunch of crap and we'd like to be a trusted source for you. So thank you for tuning in. I hope this helps. I hope that you find a buyer. I hope even more so that you can put yourself in a buyer's shoes and understand the process a little bit better. Up next, I think we're going to start talking about how to contact. I hope that you found this one useful. I hope that you found all of these useful. I hope that you go out and find a buyer and get contact information, but I hope that you understand what buyers are looking for, understand the process. This entire journey for us is about getting high quality educational resources out into the real world. Let's be honest, there's a bunch of crap out there and we're trying to sift through it, make sure that you get good information that you can action on, that you can go do something with. So please stay engaged with us, ask us questions, give us feedback. We love it. We want to get better at this. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.